Mae Renfroe, and welcome back to another episode of Mighty Monday. I hope everybody's had a great week this last week and good weekend and a good Monday so far. I hope it's been great. And today I am honored to have my guest on, Kaitlin Parsons, on with me, and I get to talk to her about her story of loss and grief. I know it's not easy, but she has something to share with us, that God has been there with her and met her there. So Kaitlin is a wife and mother, navigating the delicate balance of parenting her three boys on earth while grieving the loss of her three daughters. Her journey through love and loss has shaped her passion for creating a compassionate space where grieving mothers can find connection, support, and understanding. And through her work, Kaitlin provides a community for mothers who've experienced loss, ensuring they never feel alone. So, Kaitlin, just a big welcome tonight to Mighty Monday.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be here.
Well, thank you, thank you. I'm excited what you have for us. And yeah,
Yeah,
if you would like to introduce yourself a bit more, about your family and about your beautiful children, or however you kind of want to get into your story.
yeah,
I'll just let you
absolutely.
kind of take it from there.
Sure. So I earthly. Yeah. So when I was young, that's all I ever wanted to be was a mom. That was it was laid
Yeah,
on my
yeah.
heart, and um, so I have my husband and I have two. Well, we had two living boys, and we decided we wanted to try to grow our family. So in 2021 we decided to try again, and we got pregnant pretty quickly, but we ended up with a 20-week loss of our first daughter. Her name was
Mm,
Esme. So we dealt with that. It was very, very hard. We neither one of us had ever been through anything like that. um, but of course, we prayed, we tried to find answers. We ended up getting pregnant again shortly after, and we unfortunately lost our second daughter at 13 weeks. So again, we dealt with that grief. It was a really hard thing just to not have answers, not really know why after having two healthy boys.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
So we ended up, we tried to, get answers from the doctor. Nobody could really tell us anything. Everything was fine. Everything was normal per se, for as far as testing. So we decided to try again. And, that's never easy either. That decision to try after loss, I think is
yeah.
just, it takes a lot of strength. It takes a lot of faith, really just
No, Michelle.
um, putting your faith in God, and the journey you want for me, please, please guide me. So we ended up getting pregnant again, and we learned we were having our third daughter, which we were shocked about. We were so excited this time, even more
Mhm.
so because we were under like high risk care. So we thought, this is it. We're going to get our, rainbow baby. Um, Unfortunately, we ended up losing our third daughter as well. She was stillborn at 37 weeks, which was just
Oh,
really, really tragic. Yeah, that was honestly my hardest loss. We were only
mhm.
2 days from meeting her, healthy, and unfortunately, testing after she was born, we learned that she had a cord accident. So, it was something that neither one of us, nobody could have known, nobody could have predicted. The doctors, they would have not known. It's just one of those really tragic things. So
Mhm.
from my loss, after my loss with our third daughter, her name was Lainey Grace. We I struggled. My husband and I both struggled. Of course, I feel like you grieve in different ways as a husband and a wife, but we really just we tried to find purpose in our pain. And I know sometimes that kind of sounds cliche, but
Mhm.
for me,
Mhm.
I wanted something to help me heal, but also um, really helping other lost moms heal. Because after that loss, I really um, joined like a lot of groups, a lot of support groups, you find these people that you connect with that you don't even realize that you need. I think,
Mhm.
God puts us
Mhm.
on the path that, obviously we don't want, but there's a reason for it. And I think, you know, that's also Lainey like helping me heal,
Mhm.
just things like that, like meeting people that you aren't expecting, but you help them and they help you heal in ways that you can't even describe. So I started my podcast in hopes to do that, to heal myself by talking about my losses, but at the same time, finding my community of lost moms and really helping them heal as well. So yeah, that's where I'm at today. And I will say, so we lost Lainey in 2023, August of
Mm.
boy. His name is August. He was born in September of this year. So we have our third son. So yeah, he's a miracle. He's our angel sent from his sisters.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So now we have three boys and I have my three daughters in heaven. So
Yeah.
it's definitely been hard,
Um,
but again, I couldn't have gotten through it without my faith. So
for sure.
yeah.
Wow. That's yeah, that's hard and quite the story. Love how you sharing that, so that you have such a hope. I can tell.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I feel and that is so important, I will say pregnancy after loss is definitely um, not easy. I feel like that's,
Mhm.
you know, I don't want to
Mhm.
say harder than loss, but it was hard. You're holding your breath every day, waiting,
Oh yeah.
waiting, you're praying, you're waiting, So yeah, it's definitely not easy, but it's definitely something that um, it was laid on my heart. I feel like just to keep trying and, I wanted I wanted lots of kids and that was just something that, you know, yeah, it was laid on my heart. So
Wow. Yeah. To go into another pregnancy after the loss of your third one. Wow, that would be hard. And so, what was the space there? So, when did you end up kind of losing her, and then uh, get expecting again with your third son?
yeah, so I lost her August 1st of 2023. And so then we decided to go undergo quite a bit of testing afterwards, which takes quite a while. But we decided within they told me to wait about 6 months, which we did. We waited about 6 months
Yeah.
just to kind of let my body heal um, and I kind of joke because my husband and we get pregnant pretty easily, so I mean, that was never an issue for
Yeah.
us, it was just, you know, trying to, figure out what was wrong and we
Yeah.
did actually find out with all three of our daughters, they all had small placentas, which, I've just done a lot of research on my own and
Mhm.
different things can be tested for, but that's one that's really tricky. It's hard to test placentas. So, again, it's something that you really don't have control over, which is really unfortunate.
Yes. And so, with your third daughter, what was there was something else I thought you mentioned, or was it just
Yeah.
the placenta?
So it was
She was at
yeah,
37 weeks.
37, yeah. So
Wow.
because of her having a small placenta, that's what they think the cord accident came from, because it could not sustain her. So the cord ended up knotting, just because of her small size.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know. And it was, I feel like that was just the hardest because again, we were just so close.
Yeah. Yeah. You had held your breath. All that was like, so we made it past this milestone. We made it
Yeah,
past this. Okay. Here we go. We're in the last 3 weeks.
exactly.
We're,
Exactly.
we're here. And you must have had everything ready for this baby to
Yeah.
arrive.
Yep. Yeah, everything in the house was set up. We were ready to bring her home, and my older boys, my two older boys at the time, they were so excited to meet their sister, and we were going to bring our baby home, and
Yeah.
then it's really unfortunate, that you don't get to, and people just. I feel like when you haven't gone through loss, you're just so naive to that, and
Yeah. Yeah.
even having had other losses, I was still naive to the fact that I was gonna bring my baby home. There was no way that, you
Yeah.
have a 37-week baby that you're not gonna bring home.
For sure. Yeah. Yeah. There'd be no reason at that point. You'd be just like,
Right.
okay, we done it, God. We did it, right? You're talking to God. You're
Exactly,
talking,
exactly.
talking to your
Yeah.
husband. We're here. We are. We made it. Right?
No,
Oh,
exactly.
wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
so
Yeah. I can even imagine. Yeah. Walking through that. And then walking also into another pregnancy and
yeah.
were you kind of having it out with God a bit or talking to him like, okay, this better make it or what, like,
I will say there were times, after I lost her and during my pregnancy with August that I was literally on my hands and knees. There were nights that, you don't sleep. You're holding your breath. Yeah, and I know he's a mighty God. He can handle it, right? So, there were times I yelled at him and, why? You question, and I know you're not supposed to question, but you still question, especially, um, three babies, like why? There has to be a reason. And again, we may never know why until we meet him, face to face one day. We may never know why.
Mhm,
Which again, I still question, but at the same time, I I do believe that there is a greater plan that I could not see.
mhm,
Um, I struggle a little bit still with going back and forth between, if my daughters had made it, would I have August? Probably not. You just
mhm, mhm,
there's a plan. So I know, and their stories, all each of my daughter's stories were written before they were even born. So
yeah,
this was their story, and this was my story. So, and again, I go back to my, finding purpose in my pain. I love to share my stories about them because I want them to still like live on through that. I want people to recognize that they're still my daughters. They, I want them to make an impact. So again, even if that's just talking on your podcast and reaching one person that helps them, maybe heal a little bit, that's
mhm.
that's that's my hope. So
Oh, wow. Wow. That is so good to be able to see it that way. And um, it helps us to keep pressing on. And even still in the understanding, right? Or it's
right.
still in the questioning. And yeah, I don't know if we're going to understand a lot of things like this side of heaven, right?
Sure,
But we just have to
sure.
keep trusting the one that we do know is in control and loves us and is with us and sees and he hears and he cares. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And again, I won't lie, my faith was tested after my losses, especially after
Mhm.
Lainey. You just question things and, why me, God, So yeah, but I couldn't imagine also at the same time getting through any of this without my faith. So,
Mhm. Yeah.
there's no way.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I would definitely feel the same
Mhm.
in our losses. And yeah, for sure. Is there a specific scripture that has really spoke to you that you stood on? Because I think this
Um,
neat. Those people really have certain things that God just seemed to speak through them to them, or just they've just liked and has helped them.
Yeah. So it's funny that you asked that because I had another loss. I have a friend who it also had a loss at 37 weeks. She lost her son as well. And you know, I she hers was before mine. And she also has a rainbow baby, but um getting to your the answer, when I was going through my pregnancy with August, I would text her a lot just to say, how did you get through this? Like
Yeah,
what am I supposed to do? I'm so lost. Like
yeah.
I can't pray anymore. Like I feel like I'm just, and she shared with me, I can do all things through him, that verse, and just,
Okay.
um,
Oh,
just
wow.
constantly reminding me, you can do this, you can do this, you're strong, lean on him fully, and there were times I doubted, but again, at the same time, you go back to, I have to believe that there is a reason I'm pregnant again. There is a reason that, you know, he has brought me
Hmm.
here. So I
Hmm.
can, I lean on him. So yeah,
Oh, wow. That's nice to hear. And I just love how God put her in you guys'
yeah,
life,
I think
put her
so
in your
too.
life like that.
Yeah,
Wow, that
I
she had a
agree.
sin loss at the 37 weeks and then had a pregnancy again like yourself.
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely. I know. And it's crazy to me that as well, both 37 weeks, yeah. And we had not known each other before my loss with Lainey. So again, I do feel like that is God placing people in your life, and just giving you those connections and this community of women. I mean, of course, this is not how we want to know each other, but there is it's a beautiful connection. So
For sure. Yeah. And yeah, God knows what we need and is providing in advance. I believe
yeah,
definitely putting
yeah.
people in alignment in place. Yeah.
Mhm.
I, have you started like do you have an online Facebook group? Is that kind of where
I
you have
do,
community? Like, where do you
yeah.
share in the
Yep,
where you
yep,
mentioned? Okay.
yeah. So I do have my podcast as well. It's called
Mhm.
Grief and Motherhood.
Mhm.
And then again, my Facebook group is also called Grief and Motherhood. I try to keep it all, and I started that because, I was already a mother when I lost my babies. And so I'm navigating the it's very tricky to navigate that. When you're already a mother, you lose your other children, so you're dealing with grief, but you're also in motherhood. So,
Mhm.
for me, I will say, um, after my losses, my motherhood journey completely changed. Who I was. I will say, I'm not the same mother I was, and then that's not a bad thing.
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
definitely more. I have more of a, how do I want to word it? Just a different outlook on life, just how precious it truly is,
Mhm.
the gift that God has given us all, the gift of motherhood in itself. That's a gift, there are some people who don't get to experience that, who, really want that. And so this is a gift, from him. And just to, be able to mother my children here on earth, and then also look forward to, meeting my daughters one day in heaven. So, you know, um, just navigating that complexity is tricky, but also again is a
Yeah, that
gift.
would be.
So, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow. And how old are your boys now? So I don't think you
yeah.
mentioned.
So my oldest is almost 10, which is crazy.
Yeah.
And then I have a 7-year-old, and then August, our youngest, just is going to be 6 months this weekend. So
Your youngest almost 6 months. Okay.
yeah, almost 6 months. I know it's crazy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Just a little one. Yeah.
yep.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful. And so it's you really talk to your children a lot about your daughters and kind of how does that look to kind of walk with them in that and help
Yeah,
them.
I'm so glad you asked that because I love to share this part of my journey also, because it's not just my journey; it's my family's journey.
Yeah.
So we've all experienced this together. And what I like to share about this is how real sibling grief is also. A lot of people, don't even think about that when it comes to, like children losing a sibling, or, a baby, anything. Because my boys, we talked about as a family, we planned as a family, you're going to get a sibling, and we're
Mhm.
going to do all these things with your sibling, especially that the fact that they're a little older and they understood a little more.
Mhm.
Um, so they grieved terribly after leaving. And I will say one thing that my husband and I did, and we got mixed reviews from family about it, but this was ultimately our choice. We ended up bringing them to the hospital with us after she was born. Or family brought them, and they got to hold her and say goodbye. And that's something we really thought of, but we really wanted to do for them because I feel like it was closure. Because again, you talk about, bringing this baby home, and, we had a name for her, and, everything. And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, she's just not coming home. So we wanted to be able to give them that, sense of, like, this is what happens, she's in heaven now. Would you like to hold her? Would you like to say goodbye? And so I will say one of my boys did hold her, one did not want to, which would, again, was their choice. But I
Mhm.
wanted them to be able to meet her and say goodbye, and, just have that full healing and closure for them. And I will say again, I did put them both in counseling after that, because that's never a bad thing. And um, I feel like that was a good thing for them, because again, they were able to talk to somebody about their loss, because
Yeah.
again, it was all of our losses. And so, yeah, I really, I'm glad you asked that, because again, I like to talk about the sibling grief and how it affects, your whole family as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I like what you did. I think that's be very
Thank you.
yeah,
Yeah.
because how are they going to get closer? You and your husband mate, had that time together at the hospital, you and him with the baby and all the things, but about
Yeah.
for them for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And again, maybe if they were younger, I would have maybe rethought it a little, but just them being a little older, one was, I think, 8 and 6 at the time. So again, I think they're old enough to understand, and, we talk about God, and they know, heaven. And so, I mean, for them to really fully understand that, I think it's part of life, unfortunately. And um so yeah, and again, we going back, we talk about her, we talk about all the girls. But again, especially Lainey, we include her in everything. Um, the first year after we lost her, we had her frame in our family photos, and we have the girls' urns. We had them cremated. So
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah, we include them in all of our lives. So
Well, I think that's nice. Yeah, I mean, not easy. It's
yeah,
not easy.
right,
Yeah,
right,
but yet
yeah.
necessary and good to do that. Yeah, and I bet they ask you a lot of questions about like God and stuff, right? About
Oh,
why did
absolutely.
God let this to happen? And so I
Yep.
bet that's what you have some meaningful conversations that way too.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. We do. Yeah. We've really, I think it also brings you closer as a family.
Hmm.
I really do. Yeah. So yeah, we've had some good deep conversations, for a almost 10-year-old, and a 7-year-old, things that you just wouldn't imagine having normally, as,
Hmm.
as a mother with your children. But in a way, it's like, it brings me a sense of peace knowing that I'm raising them, to believe and to understand. And so, I think it's, again, God speaking through me to my children. So
Yeah, yeah, and as they get older, and then maybe bigger questions, more
yeah,
questions and more things to be able to share
yeah,
about God and all. Oh wow, I like that again. Like not easy, but
sure.
this is your story. This is where you're at and what God has gave you, and He's given you the strength for every day
Yeah,
as you move forward. Yeah, and then giving you this opportunity to be able to share, with others, helping others, and
yeah,
also I
yeah.
like that.
Thank you. Yeah, again, I keep going back to this saying, but I keep saying I wanted to find a purpose, and I don't,
Hmm.
so I really think, this is God's, like you said, God's way of, even if I can help one person, on their journey, give them hope, and maybe a little bit of healing.
Yeah, that is important. That is worth it, and you can feel good about that. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
for sure. So when did you start your podcast? Was this
Yeah,
pretty new?
so, I started it about a year ago, but again, it's kind of been one of those things, like a work in progress, because I put out my first episode, and then shortly after is when I found out I was pregnant with my son. So I didn't record for quite a while, because first of all, I was really sick. I had hyperemesis, so I was really sick, like
Okay.
like for maybe like 2 months, like
Yeah.
constantly, throwing up and just not feeling good. So it took a lot of energy to even, get off the couch, let alone think about recording. But at the same time, it really it started bringing up all these emotions, and I just didn't think I could
Imagine.
handle it at the time, and my thoughts were like, oh my goodness, you just think all these thoughts like, well, if I record, I don't want to let people know I'm pregnant again. Um, so, you just think all these things. So, I did take a break, and then so I started shortly after he was born, I started recording again. So now I'm about 5 episodes in, so
Wow.
I'm still
Oh, good
pretty
for you.
new. Yeah,
Yeah.
but and again, I feel like it's really hard to find time when you have a newborn
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and quiet, right? So it's like
It is
and
nice.
also three boys in your house. It's like when am I supposed to record when it's quiet,
Yeah, that is hard. I've
So
got no. Go ahead.
oh no, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I was going to say on my end, I have a lot of the older ones that could take little ones, so that helps. But
Yeah, yeah,
right
that is
now,
nice.
yeah, I'm a mom of 10, so my oldest is 24, and then down to 2.5 is my
That's
youngest.
so awesome. I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah, and our story we've had a few lot babies that we lost like through miscarriage. We weren't very far along, just maybe
Yeah,
10 weeks, and then we lost our 14-year-old son in 2017. So
yeah,
we have that loss as well. And so yeah, it's been hard, but God has just been there for us. He's gave us the
yeah,
strength, and I don't know where I'd be without my faith, like you said,
yeah,
as well. And
absolutely.
just navigating those things and navigating, um,
Hmm.
especially with the miscarriages when you get expecting, you expect to carry that out. You're not. I never ever thought, and then and then again, and it's really really hard. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm so sorry for your loss. Not that any loss is worse or, but losing a 14-year-old son, I can't even imagine. I just my heart just hurts to hear that.
oh, thank you, thank you, and it's all God. I wouldn't be here without him. But
Mm.
it definitely gave me a passion for people that I didn't have because I didn't know. When you haven't been through, you just don't know. And then I'm like, wow. And then and I know that my strength, yeah, I was very dependent on God, and so I really want to help others and just help direct them to God. Not everyone has that faith, or they may not realize that they need God.
Right.
That we all need Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't know how to make it.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah, so that's kind of where everything that I'm doing comes from, that and my podcast, the same thing, just to try to give someone else hope and to say, hey, there is better days ahead. You will have joy again. You might not realize that at first, that you can have joy again and your heart can be healed, and
Mhm. Absolutely.
you know
Yeah.
all the things. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I know that you're obviously that's what you've experienced, right? Your life
Yeah.
are a testament of that too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Hmm.
that's wonderful. Well, is there kind of anything else that you would really like fellow moms to know, or something that you think would really be helpful in something might be struggling? I don't know if that's
Sure.
a good question to ask. Okay.
Yeah. No, that's okay. Thank you. I would just say like kind of what I've said a few times. I know it's hard to keep to have hope, again,
Mhm,
especially after loss.
mhm,
Um, but it's something that, if it's laid on your heart, follow that. Because I
mhm,
feel like God lays it on our hearts for a reason. So, um, and for me, again, talking about my losses was something that I feel like He laid on my heart just to maybe help someone else. And again, I feel like does give me a little bit of strength knowing that
mhm,
if I can help one other person or just
mhm,
connect with one other person that is really facing a difficult time um, through their grief journey. Um, and again, I try to talk about different topics on my podcast a little bit, just, like self-care and, taking care of ourselves. That's something that,
Really important.
yeah, I feel like it definitely gets overlooked a little bit just because, we're just in the midst of grief and you can't see a way out of it, but there is hope and, just lean on him. So,
Mhm. Yeah, and just yeah, because he's there for us. But what happens if we maybe don't? We try to rely on our own strength, or just we just honestly don't know what to do. But when we can just go to God, God, I don't understand, I don't know, just
yeah.
and just and he will be there for you. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And
Absolutely.
yeah, so you really are encouraging mothers to to be brave about stepping into like pregnancy again, right? Because that's something can be definitely afraid to
Yeah.
do. So that's what you really want
Um,
to encourage them, right? To do that.
yeah, absolutely. And I know it can be scary. I know it can be hard. Just thinking, all the what ifs and, why and all the questions. But
Mhm.
again, I feel like there is hope. There's hope. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Good. There is. I totally agree with you.
yeah.
Well, but thank you so much for sharing that tonight,
Yeah.
Kaitlin, and just sharing that with us about your beautiful sons, your beautiful daughters, and that hope that you have found and are wanting to help other moms with. I just thank you so much for sharing that, and just all the best to your
Well, thank
continued
you.
journey, your
Yeah.
continued journey on your podcast, and yeah, being your mother.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me and, um, you know, sharing a little bit about your story too.
Thank you. Yeah, yeah. And there's healing. I love doing that. Yeah, and there's healing in that,
Yeah.
and then yeah. Maybe that we realize we have that in common. It's hard, but I think
Yeah.
that helps it when we share
Absolutely.
it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
The community of lost moms, are
Yeah.
some of the most beautiful souls I've met, really, truly. And
Mhm.
again, it's no group per se that we want to be a part of, but you know, um, unfortunately, that's our path, and you know, just being able to connect, I feel like with people who
Mhm.
know that pain and that grief, so it helps.
Yeah, for sure. So, can you say the name of your podcast again and kind of where they can connect with you? And then I can put some stuff in the description too. So, because that community is very important. So, if mothers that you are not alone, both me and my guest here we have walked this, we've gone through this, and we want you to find that community and physically find your podcast and Facebook group, right? So you could let
Yeah.
us know again what the name is.
Yeah, it's Grief in Motherhood. So you can find me on, yeah, I have a Facebook group. My podcast also is called Grief in Motherhood, and then I'm also on Instagram. So
Okay, sounds good. Okay.
thank you
Thanks for
so
sharing,
much.
and everybody have a
Yeah,
great week. Okay,
yeah,
take care. God bless.
you too.